Right. Welcome everybody else that's joining up. I'm going to give everybody just another couple minutes before I get rolling here. Today I am by myself. Kyle-less. Kyle is out again. He's taking another week or so of extra paternity leave, just to he gets a bunch of time to be home with his little one, little Alice. So he's hopefully having a lot of fun, just not doing anything today. So I put into the chat for anybody that's just joining up the slides for today if you want to follow along or look at this later. Also, a knowledge base article that is going to be not everything we talk about today, but it at least has part in the main part of what we're discussing today, our analytics section. But there's also additional articles kind of linked on the side of that page that are related that we'll also discuss today. So, all right. Okay, I'm going to get rolling. Yeah, and see if anybody else can join as we go. So welcome back, everybody. This is the 7th episode this year of our webinar series. This is our second year doing this, and I think we did 8 last year. We're going to do one more in 2 weeks, which will be our last one for this year. So that's exciting. Hopefully, you guys got a lot out of these. These are typically, the whole point of these webinar series is they're 30 minutes or less, quick and easy exploration of a very unique feature, stuff that typically maybe you don't know about that the app can do, or things that we tend to get a lot of questions about. So these are on a bi-weekly schedule. We record these. We're recording this one right now. So that way you can watch them at your leisure whenever you want to. And you can also share them with other people at your facility if you find it something they might use. So the biggest thing is to get inspired, to see what you can use your app for. I basically am just stealing ideas from other courses and how they're using the app for really cool, unique ideas, and letting other people know how you can do that. So, and again, we are going to be recording these. This one probably won't be recorded same day. Kyle usually uploads these to YouTube and does all that, so we will probably get that done hopefully by tomorrow, if not first thing Monday. But again, we will at least have this posted fairly shortly. I'll try to get it done by tomorrow. So the goal today is to always to get more people to use your app, to more people to download it, more people using it on a constant basis, so that you can market to them and hopefully have them spend more money with you and create more revenue. That's kind of what we're all here for, is hopefully to make a little bit more money, but also get your people engaged more and get better customer engagement, and have them more loyal to you, coming back to you more and more, which typically means they'll spend more money with you. So today's agenda, we are going to talk about analytics. Today's not the most super fun topic and not always the most flashy, but it is something that a lot of clubs, don't always look at on a day-to-day basis, but on a biannual, semi-annual, like one time a year at least, going back to see what's working and what's not in your app is always a good idea. So first we're going to talk about what is analytics, where can you find them. We're going to talk about the app analytics dashboard, which we released last year. We're also going to talk about a brand new feature that just got released, which is our offer locker export, which is awesome. That's something we've been working on for a little bit. And then we're going to talk about Firebase, which is basically what used to be Google Analytics is now called Firebase. We're going to briefly touch on that. And then other available metrics in the dashboard that you can get to fairly easily, ones that have been there for a while, but maybe not everybody knows they're there or forgets that they are there. So we're going to touch on all of those as well, plus any Q&As. So if anybody has any Q&As, please throw them into the Q&A window. I am by myself, so I will look at them as they come in, try to answer them. So here we go. We're going to get rolling. So first, some background. So what are analytics? Analytics obviously are a way of tracking data. It's just a fancy way of, saying things happening in your app in a way to track them on a regular basis. So a way of tracking the traction your app is getting, a lot of times seeing like what people are using the app for, how much, if you're using an offer, if it's being like how many people are actually using it, redeeming it, how many people are just viewing it. So we start with an emphasis on a few modules, then use the available metrics to see your progress over time. So the biggest thing is you're going to want to look, you're going to need to see what, looking at your app and the analytics over different periods of time, whether it's month by month, year by year, you usually have to compare it to something for it to make sense. And also think about the level of detail you want to see. So a lot of times going in to see what kind of analytics you can get, and then going in to see like how detailed you want it to be is better than like looking at it and like going back a year prior to try to dig into something that maybe you aren't able to get those analytics for. So it's usually better up front to kind of know the limitations of the analytics and what is available to see and what you can track, versus going back after the fact to try to pull out certain things that you're looking for and realizing that you don't have access. There's no way to track that unless you have set it up ahead of time sometimes. So there are two spots to look for these. One is in the Gallus dashboard, which is basically we set this up as the most basic, easy data to kind of like comprehend and look at on a more regular basis. These are more transactional data, more like redemptions of your offers from OfferLocker, points accrued in loyalty points, how many rounds were played in your app, things of that nature, check-in revenue, etc. If you have mobile check-in through Club Profit with us. The other spot to look, which has a lot more detailed things, but is also a little bit more confusing, and not everybody has that level of expertise to go in and look at this and has the time to go figure it out. But Firebase, which used to be called Google Analytics, is a very, very detailed, and it can track a lot more things. It's more user-based numbers, looking at how many users have opened the app in the last week, how many users have downloaded it over a certain period, like how many sessions, what they're clicking on, screen views, things of that nature, which you can dial down very, very uniquely. But again, that takes sometimes a little bit of setup on the front end, depending on what you want to look for, and also a little bit of knowledge of how that works. That is not obviously through us. That is a Google product that is used across all of Google's products, including websites, everything else. So it is a very more technical website, I would say, but it does have a lot of great features to use. And we link the app to this for you so that you are able to get this data if you need it. So the app analytics dashboard, that is something that is on the home screen, the quick start screen of your manager dashboard. When you click on it, it's going to give you a whole bunch of these little cards. The cards have different titles, so app downloads, push notifications, punch, loyalty. So each one gives a quick summary of kind of the last period. It defaults to, I believe, a 2-week or a 1-month period. It'll show you, active downloads as of right now. Change from last period means it'll take how many new downloads you have in this period versus that same period that you're looking at. So if you're looking at a week, it'll take the previous week's numbers and compare them and give you up or down, up arrow or a down arrow. Same thing, a percentage of the difference as well. But you can narrow it down to any time period you want. You can click on the dates and choose custom date period. If you want to do just from the first of the year till today, you can look at the last year, in general, and it can do just, it'll pick the last year's date from last, May 18th to May 19th. 2022. You could also look at specific months from last year to compare like which month was your best month. Was it your summer, June, or was it if you're depending on where you're at, was it December? So this is very cool that you can basically narrow down any time period you want and look at how you did in that certain time period. So you can look at year over year numbers or month over month. When you click on each of these, it'll give you even more detail, which is really nice. So when you click on it, oh, here's the other ones. You also have offer locker, tee time check-ins. If you have mobile check-in through Club Profit with us, and then also scorecard. This shows exactly how many rounds were started, completed, and how many unique users, which is really cool to see. So when you click on one of these, it does give you a little bit more data, which shows you more numbers, and you can also export any of these as CSVs. Also has more tiles up at the top to give you kind of more breakdowns of the bigger things most people are looking for. And then if you hit the little gear button over on the right, you can also customize exactly what you want to show. So this will show all the different things that you can toggle on and off. So if you don't care about percentage change or iOS downloads versus Android, you just want to see total downloads, you can turn this off and then it'll shrink the field a little bit so you don't have to see as much. And then when you export, it won't have those as well. So these are all things when you put that gear, you can toggle all the things from all the different sections on and off from each section. So it makes it really nice and easy there. So this is a great snapshot, again, of mostly transactional data within your app, mostly downloads. If you're using loyalty, that's great because it shows the loyalty, how many redemptions you have, how many points are earned, things of that nature. But these are transactional and across the board, like more generic. So they're not going to show each individual offer, like which ones was redeemed and how many you got. That you would have to go into the offer locker section to look at that information as well. So again, this is more transactional and bigger picture data that you can compare month to month, year to year. But again, we're going to be adding on to this. This was something we added last year. It was a big project that we had been working on for a long time. So we will continue to add new sections into here as we can get them. So be on the lookout. We will, this hopefully will grow over the next year as well to include more sections and more data as well. So that is the app analytics dashboard. Now I'm going to jump into the offer locker. The offer locker has a new export, which has been long overdue and I'm very happy that we have this now. Essentially, now when you're in the offer locker, you can click on each individual offer, of course, and look at each offer to see how many unique views you have, how many redemptions you have, what the redemption rate is. You can also look at deleted and expired offers as well, ones that maybe, to see what has worked in the past and what's working now. But now in the upper right next to user lookup, which we added last year as well, now you can look up a user by name or by email, which is nice, and look at all of their transactions, all of the offers they've looked at or used or redeemed, add more offers to their offer locker for them individually if you need to, all right from the search. But we also have an export. And if you click the export, it's going to export a CSV file for you that has a whole bunch of data all in one place for all of your offers all at once. So that then if you know anything about Excel or Google Sheets or any program that uses spreadsheets, you can break that data down and even more and kind of look at other stuff. So it gives you the raw data that then you can manipulate later if you know how to do that. But essentially, what that data is, it gives you every single offer, how many redemptions and everything, and all of the users for each one as well, which is really nice. So it has all the emails for each user all in one place, so you can download all of the people that are using the offer locker, send them an email separately if you need to in your email platform. So it's a very cool feature that, again, you just click it and it automatically does it for you. It updates to that time. So if you want to do it every week or every month or at the end of each season, you can click on it and it'll give you an up-to-date to that exact time list. So that is something that's super nice. Again, that used to be something was if we had to do this, we had to do it manually, and would take us a long time. Now it's nice that we give that option not only for us but for you guys to use on your own. Firebase. Firebase is something we could talk about for 30 minutes, hours, 3 hours, all by itself. I'm just going to tell you what it is, and you can look into it more if you want to kind of dig into this. This is, again, something I'm not an expert at, something that I know a little bit about, but it's something that even, for us, it's not something that is something I use on a daily basis, but it is something we use quite a bit, and it can be as complicated or as simple as you want it to be, basically. So Firebase is essentially, again, like I said, it used to be called Google Analytics, which makes a little more sense, the name. But essentially, when you pull up, you can create your own Firebase account using any Google login. So you can create a unique Google login on your own, and essentially you can link your app to your Firebase account, and you can then, we already have this set up, and we can give you access to basically take over, like get any of the data that's already been in there. So it's not just going to be future data. This can be data for all the past ones, because we've collected all this data since your app's been live, typically, or since Firebase has been around, which is the last couple of years, I believe. But essentially, when you get into this, you can look at real-time numbers of how many people are, actively have the app open, how many people are using how many users over time, users in the last 30 minutes, how many screens, like what screens are being looked at, a whole bunch of different things, all right in here. Again, I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty. They have a ton of documentation on their website, how to use this, what to look for, how to create reports, how to pull information from this. So this can also be, if you already are using Firebase for your website, for like your SEO and for other data that you're collecting, you can just add your app as part of your reporting in there. So if you already have this set up, or have an IT person, or already have a marketing person that is using this, this is a great opportunity to just add in more data from your app for your marketing person to have to hopefully deploy and use to get more people to hopefully come to your course and spend more money. So now I'm quickly, again, Firebase, if you want to look into that, it's fantastic. It's just takes some time to get used to if you've never used it before. Other available metrics, these are all in our dashboard currently. They've all been there for a while. But again, they kind of are forgotten, and I like to explain to people that they're there, because a lot of stuff we have that people ask for is already sitting there in the dashboard waiting for you to look at. And these are all things that are a little bit more simple. They're not quite as complicated as Google Analytics or Firebase, and they are pretty basic, but very helpful at the same time. So quick start numbers. When you get to the dashboard, this is your quick start screen. This is the main screen that you have when you log in. In the upper right, there's a bunch of numbers here that are very helpful and have been there for a while, but a lot of people don't realize that they're there or what they actually mean. So the big number in the upper right is total downloads. This is lifetime downloads. How many people ever, for the life of your app, have ever downloaded it? So even if they've deleted it or their phone's no longer in service, it still counts. So it's just your total aggregate downloads, which is a great number to just know in general how many people have ever downloaded your app. So active downloads is a more accurate number of the more recent users, how many people have been using your app on a recent basis. So this is a better kind of snapshot of current, how many people are actively using it and actually have the app still on their phone currently. So this number is typically always going to be, if you've had the app for over a year, it's always going to be less, because as people get new phones and re-download the app on their new device, it's technically going to be, that same person might have downloaded it twice. It's going to count as both, but they're only going to be one active because the other phone is no longer active. So active downloads is a better snapshot of how many people currently are using it. And then we look at push opt-ins. This is a great number to know how many people you can reach right now with sending a push notification. So if I send a push notification, how many people are opted in and will actually have this pop up on their phone? One great thing is it shows the percentage, and it shows the percentage versus active downloads, not total, because these are the total, the actual people that still have it, obviously. So this number is a great number to look at to see what percentage of people, and how many people total you can reach. Like this club can reach the city of San Diego, which includes Torrey Pines. They can reach 15,000 people with one push of a button. One notification can be sent out and hit 15,000 people instantly. So this is great as a marketing thing to see how many people can I reach today? And if you hover over it, it will tell you the difference between Android and iOS if you care to know how many people are using an iPhone versus an Android device. But this is a great snapshot. Typically, our clubs average right around 50% opt-in, which is, better than industry average. Industry average is a lot less. I think it's below 40%. So getting closer to that 60% is a great thing, and encouraging people to download the app, and when they download it to turn on notifications is a great way. So if you're pushing the app or have advertisements or have pop-ups either on your website or on your booking confirmation page, reminding people not just to download it, but to enable notifications so they can stay up to date with news from the club. So, but what's also great is we've also added our message center recently, which is a new thing we released earlier this year. The message center, anybody that has the app, all active users will see that message pop up in the message center. They have to open the app actively to see it, but now at least there will be a badge icon on their phone letting people know there's a new message, and they can look at it that way if they want to, if they have that turned on. So another way to reach people, another way to get people to look at it, not just having to have the pop-up actually pop up on their phone. User emails. So emails, if you want to get everybody that's ever inputted an email into your app for any reason, this includes if they've signed up just to use the scorecard and the GPS for account recovery. When they sign up to start a new round, it always asks for their email so that it can basically, if they get a new phone or need to recover their scores for whatever reason, they can put in their email address for that. If they sign up for the offer locker, they automatically enter into your app as well. Any loyalty programs, if you're running, that uses email as their identifier, or just in general, if they just open their app and they go into the profile section of the app and enter their email, any of those ways, or it'll basically save their emails, and you can export a list that then you can use for whatever you need to right there. And again, it's up to date immediately. So anybody that's recently downloaded it and put in their email, all that information's right there. That you do under in the quick start screen. It's not on the home page. You have to click on stats, which is over on the left, and it has a pull down menu, and you click on rounds. Rounds is also a great place just to find all the round data individual. So in the app analytics section, which is right at the top here, this is where you get to it on the side of this menu. It shows the generic, how many people total of how many rounds are played and this and that in different time periods. This, you can look at different dates and actually pull up each scorecard and actually look at all the data, the raw data of how many people, how many holes they actually scored through, who they played with, if it has their email, what tee boxes they play from, what device they were using, a whole bunch of more data right there. So you can also search by golfer name or email or any dates as well if you want to. But right up top, right next to export round emails, which you can export just people that use a scorecard if you want to, but you can also export all app emails, which means anybody has ever entered an email anywhere in the app. And this is great. It's a CSV file, and then it's up to date, as soon as you click on it. So you can, periodically come in here and get this database. This is how many people actually put in their emails in your app. So it's not going to be everybody that has downloaded the app ever, because not everybody puts in their email, depending on what you have going on. Loyalty program. So anybody that's running a loyalty program, whether it be a punch card system or a point system through the app itself, we have a lot of different analytics in there. So when you click on loyalty program and click on each individual program, you can look at exactly, didn't mean to do that, sorry. You can look at exactly, this is for a point system, you can see how many, all the rewards programs you have set up, you can see exactly which ones are being redeemed the most. So in this one, you can see the $50 gift card, which is the lowest point value you can redeem, has the most redemptions, which is pretty obvious. Most people, typically redeem it right as you can. But the next highest one is actually the biggest one, which is actually kind of makes sense, because a lot of people either are going to use it right away or save up for the biggest thing they can and then use that when they need to. So as you can see, maybe I don't need this $200 one because nobody's actually redeeming it. So maybe I can just get rid of it to make it easier and less things on my screen for them to pick. But you can also see, if you have multiple different types of giveaways or redemptions, rewards, you can see which ones are working, which ones aren't. So if one's not working, you can just delete it and try a different one. But you can also look at individual users. If you click on each user, it gives you the balance, how many points they've earned, when they earned them, when they redeemed them, all that individual data right there. And you can also search by individual participant or remove or add points right from here as well. Same thing on the punch side, it gives you kind of similar data as well. But again, this is all more individual data, as opposed to the app analytics section of the app gives more generic, how many total redemptions and how many things. This actually, you can bore down into the specifics of each individual user. Then this is something that most people, again, forget is there. But this is probably the most like basic but best like analytics we've had for the longest time. Is if you if you click on push notifications from the quick start screen on the homepage of the dashboard, it'll take you to create, which is like this. If when you click on the send, it'll take you to compose a new message. But if you want to look at all the history of all the messages you've ever sent ever in the app, if you click on the notifications from the left hand under engage users, it'll show you all your messages, exactly when it was sent, what the message was, who it was sent to, what the action was. So when they clicked on it, if it took them to a website, to an app page, or just to your home screen, where it went. And then over here on the right, it shows who it was sent to, how many people actually got that message to pop up on their phone. So this one had 4,300, sent. How many people directly clicked on it? So within the next hour, they actually clicked and opened up your app or went to that wherever the action was taking them. And then influence response. This is basically within the next, I think it's 2 to 3 hours. How many people opened their app, didn't actually click on their push, but were sent the push and then opened the app within the next few hours, meaning that most likely they opened it because you sent that push notification. A lot of times people dismiss it or they're too busy, they can't look at it right then, but they will go back and open it eventually, which is like both these numbers are good. It's kind of like when you're looking at an email data, a click-through rate and just an open rate. So it's kind of like two different things to look at. Both numbers added up together are usually what you're looking for like total, how well it was received and how well it worked. If you notice, a lot of times you can see like what times of day work really well, like if it's weekends or weekdays, if it's mornings or evenings, if it's something, a lot of times you'll see a lot more direct responses, people clicking if you say, hey, sign up now, or if it's for a discount or something that they have to, like an action item that they actually have to click on, whether if it's just informational, like, hey, maybe you're closed today because of weather, or other basic information like new hours at somewhere. Those typically don't get clicked as much, but that's still information that's good and people will see and still probably open your app because of it. So you can definitely bore down to see exactly like which types of information sending out is working, which ones people are clicking on the most. So you can go back and look at the history and look at that. And this is also where you can set up, if you click on the scheduled, if you have any scheduled to go out in the future, this is where you can delete them and redo them if you need to change it. So that's push notifications. So again, this is something where we have this data right here in the app analytics section. Again, it has more generic data of like how many total, like how many pushes were received and this and that. But this, you can look at the specifics of each push to see which ones are working. So again, a more generic bird's eye view versus a more like individual, like look at each individual one and see how it did. So that is it. I perfectly running up with 2 minutes left. Anybody have any questions? I don't see any in the chat. Nothing. Going once, going twice. Okay. Perfect. If anybody does have any questions, always you can reach out to us at any time by any of these ways. You can go to our knowledge base, which is just support.gallusgolf.com. We have tons of videos, tons of articles, very detailed about every section of our app, including almost everything we talked about today. You can also go to our YouTube page, which is going to have this video, plus all of our user videos, plus all of our back-end dashboard videos for yourselves, for people managing the app. We have a lot of new user videos on there too that you can post in the app or post on your website for people to learn how to use your app, some of your golfers and things. You can also reach us anytime at support.gallusgolf.com. Here's our phone number. You can, if you're in the manager, you can always go the help button right there. There's a chat anywhere with the GallusGolf.com domain. So chat, email, whatever works for you. We will try to get in touch as soon as we can. So next week we got our last one of the year, or in 2 weeks, I'm sorry, which is going to be on June. Oh my gosh, June already. June 2nd. It's going to be Tee Time Standby, which is our newest feature we released this year. It is a Club Profit exclusive feature, just like our mobile check-in. It is tied to that as well. So that will be exciting because that's something that we have launched this year, and it's been working pretty well. So looking forward to chatting more and explaining the details of that feature. But until then, thanks everybody for showing up, and thanks for everybody watching this in the future. I will see you again in a couple weeks, and hopefully have Kyle sitting right next to me again. So thanks everybody.